Good Wednesday morning. This is Luke and Life and Pushing Through Roadblocks, episode 5. So last week we talked about me getting the port in and everything like that. And so this week we're going to talk about week 1 of chemo. So I got checked in on December 15th, about 9 a.m. in the morning. I went in there, went to the hospital, went up to the hospital wing, second floor of St. Pete's, and got checked into my room. It was kind of an awe moment because the thing is that I'm with about 10 to 15 chemo patients at that time, either going through chemo or getting the reactions after chemo. So it was an awe moment, still figuring out who I was, what I was going through. And so I sat down in the bed and they hooked me up to an IV right into here, right into my port. And they started filling me with fluids because the thing is what they need to know, they need to get my body full of fluids so when they put the chemo in, it'll be distributed evenly throughout my whole body. And with that chemo, and I'll get you the exact names of the chemo next week to be able to help you out with that. But that chemo, what it is attacking all the white blood cells and the cancerous cells. So it tries to beat down every single thing. And it kills a lot of red blood cells too. So first day I had an injection of some chemo. And then each day for the next 5 days, we had chemo in the morning or chemo in the afternoon, and I'll get the exact times and stuff like that next week, but it would be different regimens every single day. And then what I would do is I'd get weighed before, weighed after, and then right around 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd get woken up, and then they would get me out of bed and they would check my blood pressure, they would check my weight to make sure, because all the fluids that I was getting, they wanted to make sure that everything was going right, and the way they could test all those type of things was with my weight, and amount of fluids and all that type of stuff, and my heart rate. So that first week wasn't as tough for saying going through chemo because it was just the beginning of the 6 rounds. But right after that week, I got released. But right before I got released, I took a Neulasta shot. Now, Neulasta is an injection into your stomach or injection into your abdomen area that helps your body create white blood cells quicker so that you can get back and do the second round of chemo quicker, because again, you're 1 week on, 2 weeks off, and then back on that same schedule. So if you got any delay, everything got pushed back and can cause a lot more of being sick, a lot more of the downsides to the chemo. So I got released, and one of the greatest stories about this time, and it might not be greatest, but it's one of the things I do remember because it was the goals, one of the things that I went through to keep myself normal. I actually went to the movie Meet the Parents with a couple of my buddies, and I did it within that first couple of days after chemo because that's when my white blood cell count was still high enough where I could be around people. And so I went to the movie and we sat in, I think, back row or second to the back row, and we were watching the movie, and I felt my temperature rising. And I know this, I was getting sick. I felt, hey, I probably should go to the hospital. I probably should be around these people at this point. But it was the normal thing. I wanted to, and I pushed myself through that whole movie because I wanted to feel normal. I wanted to feel normal for a little bit. And because I did that, yeah, I went back to the hospital with a fever. But those little things that I went through each chemo, after chemo, each round, that I did these little normal things so that I could push myself through. So I could make sure that I wasn't just gonna fall off, that I kept pushing through to make sure that I would survive and get to my goal at the end. So on this real quick, and I'll talk about the middle to the second round, and I'll give you some more specific data next week. But I wanna thank my parents, thank the community, and thank my nurses and doctors for helping me out, because without them, I wouldn't be here.